Hey mamas, and welcome to the Entering Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Bilger, a wife, mom of two, VBAC mama, and doula. Join us every episode to learn from professionals, special guests, and moms just like you, ensuring that you know what you need to know and discover things that you didn't know before. I believe in you. Let's doula this, and let's navigate the transition of entering motherhood together. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Entering Motherhood. I'm so excited and glad to have you here. We are talking about something that is so foundational, yet often gets oversimplified and ignored, and that is prenatal nutrition in regards to nutrients and vitamins that your body needs during this time and during this growing of your baby and just this transition in your life. And so specifically, we're talking about how to support your body with some essential vitamins and minerals that it truly needs from a more holistic perspective. So I hope that you gain so much from this episode and it's really beneficial. This is something that I particularly love to talk about. I love perinatal nutrition. I love postpartum nutrition. I love just talking about the vitamins and the nutrients that our body truly needs to help in this stage of life and just beyond in general. There's so many good things that we can learn and that we typically take the time to learn when we are pregnant because we are so excited about the baby that is growing inside of our body, and we are willing to take more care of ourselves and really start to focus on how to build that relationship with food and honor our body and learn what it means to truly nourish yourself during pregnancy and beyond. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm so excited that you are taking the time to learn about this information and hear more about how we can be nourishing our body during this time. And so whether you are newly pregnant, maybe you are trying to conceive, or you're just curious about some holistic wellness and what goes on in our bodies during this time. So thank you for being here, and let's dive in. I wanted to start by saying that your body is so wise. Your body has so many awesome things that are going on just naturally in its system, and it is utilizing every ounce of fuel that we are giving it, and it is able to really just consume what we need and release the things that we don't need. And your baby's body is also incredibly wise and smart, and the placenta that you are growing is the in between in the mixture of all of it, and is also just such a vital part of this whole process. And nutrition isn't about avoiding different things or only something that we focus on when we have deficiencies or anything like that. It's really creating this supportive environment and developing resilience and just giving your body the building blocks that it needs to do all of this miraculous work that it already knows how to do. And so while supplements can play a role in all of this, I always encourage for women to look at food first and think of supplements as a way of supporting, not a substitution. So we can look down the road and see if we're still having some deficiencies or we're still feeling certain ways into having supplements and going that route. But I do believe looking at food itself and understanding that we can get most of our nutrients and vitamins and all the very important things that our body needs from food first. And this is, whole foods that are very rich in nutrients and enzymes and holds so much capability for our bodies that we sometimes, again, like I said, like we overlook this. We don't really consider it. Sometimes we're just eating the things that are around us or the things that taste good or the things that we're used to, and we're not truly taking the time to honor and dig a little bit deeper about the variety that food can offer and understand the capabilities of true nutrients and the way that it plays a role in our day-to-day lives, in growing our babies, in recovering postpartum, and really just, like I said, too, just day-to-day activities. This is most of the time information that you are going to take with you far into motherhood and be able to utilize even outside of this transitional time. And so I want to just mention a few important nutrients during pregnancy and where we can find them in real food and how they support us. So I'm sure you have heard of folate, and I want to just clarify this is not folic acid, but folate itself is going to be super beneficial. This supports our neural tube development for baby and also plays a part in DNA synthesis. And so making sure that we are getting folate is going to be super beneficial. We can actually get this from liver, dark leafy greens, lentils, avocados, asparagus, eggs. And so you might be hearing like, make sure your prenatal vitamin has folate in it. You can also make sure that you are eating more of these types of food and getting what you need out of that and giving yourself an ample amount of folate to also have. If you are looking at a supplement, make sure that you are not getting a synthetic folic acid, but you are truly getting the correct version of folate in that supplement. So not all folate or folic acid and things like that, they're not created equal. Make sure that you are choosing a very reputable supplement if you are going that route. Another vitamin that is super beneficial during this time is iron. This helps increase your blood volume and helps prevent signs of anemia or anemia in general. It really is such a factor when we're talking about our blood volume and our blood flow. And so iron can be super beneficial. Some real food sources that you can find lots of iron in is going to be our red meats, again, liver, lentils, spinach, and other foods along that line. And if you pair your iron foods with a vitamin C rich food like oranges or bell peppers, this can actually help boost the absorption level of that iron. So keep that in mind. Know that if you are eating those things together, maybe you have some spinach stuffed bell peppers. There you go. There is your iron and you're boosting up that absorption level with the vitamin C. Another vitamin that I love to call out, these two kind of go hand in hand and together, is calcium and magnesium. These both are supporting bone development, nerve health, and reduce the risks of any leg cramps. And actually, there has been research and studies that it is helping reduce signs of preeclampsia. So if you are upping your magnesium and your calcium, then you are down the road to having some of those potential benefits. Some food sources that you can find these in is going to be your bone broths, sesame seeds, nuts, leafy greens, sardines, yogurt, and pumpkin seeds. So keep those in mind if this is something that you are low in needing more of. And also just these are one of the things that you want to make sure that you're keeping on your radar when you're pregnant. Two key vitamins that I want to point out is vitamin D and vitamin K. These are going to be useful and helpful for immune function, mood regulation, calcium absorption, and baby's bone health. So we can be getting our vitamin D from sunshine. You can also look into cod liver oil. I know some of these things are probably rare and don't sound that appetizing or appealing. I know that's how I feel a lot of the times when we talk about organ meats and things like that, but they can also be super beneficial, and you might be wanting to go that route instead of taking certain supplements or having to do any other kinds of interventions, then just trying it and seeing what it's like and seeing if it's beneficial and seeing if it's helpful. Some other food sources that we can find vitamin D and K in are egg yolks, grass-fed butter, and any fatty fish. This other vitamin is typically overlooked, but it is essential for babies' brain and spinal cord development, and that's going to be our choline. So choline you can find in egg yolks, beef liver, salmon, chicken, or quinoa. So pack on all those nutrients and bump up your choline by eating those types of foods. And then again, this is something that I probably talk about in so many episodes, but hydration is going to be super key in a lot of these cases. Too, just hydrating your body is going to help all of those vitamins and nutrients do what it needs to do smoothly and quickly and just flow throughout your body so flawlessly. And when we pair water with electrolytes and we're getting our hydration with different electrolytes, we can get sodium, potassium, and other trace minerals that are just going to be super, super beneficial. You can do this by just putting some sea salt in your water, having coconut water, or making any kind of electrolyte drink mixes. I think these are super popular now that you can get a lot of different types, but making sure that they have some sort of sodium and potassium in there is going to be really beneficial. And then lastly, I just want to point out your omega-3s, especially DHA. This is so crucial for babies' brain development and their nervous system. So looking at foods like salmon, sardines, anchovies, eggs, flax seeds, and chia seeds, those are all going to contain omega-3s and just be super, super beneficial for you and for babies' brain and nervous system development. And so making sure that we're incorporating all of these different things is going to be so beneficial during pregnancy. We talked a little bit about all of this too when we were talking about common symptoms in pregnancy and ways to reduce it. I always love to go back to nutrition and utilize it as a resource. And pregnancy can come with nausea and food aversions and a lot of weird cravings or not craving certain things. And so making sure that we stay supported and nourished is just going to be super beneficial and help with a lot of these different things that could be going on. So like I mentioned in that episode, and I'm going to talk about it again here, is having those small frequent meals and making sure that they are rich in fat and protein. Always trying to pair a carb with a protein or a fat to keep your sugar stable, and incorporating some kind of bone broth or herbal teas like a red raspberry leaf tea is going to be super beneficial and just help with a lot of those different symptoms that you might be having and preparing for labor. Red raspberry leaf tea is really awesome because it helps strengthen our uterus and get us ready for labor. And then also keep in mind fermented foods like sauerkraut or kimchi, things like that. They're going to be really great and beneficial for you. It might also help to just slow down and take time to chew your food. That really just helps with digestion, keeping in mind that the process all starts in our mouth. And if we are taking the time to slow down and chew our food, then it's just going to be easier to break down and easier for our body to process. And then just trying to be more mindful and aware and ask yourself, does this feel nourishing to me? Is this beneficial for me? Is this the right choice? Can I make a better choice or a different choice? How can I be more nourishing to myself? And if maybe all you're really able to consume that day is some fruit or some toast with butter or a few scrambled eggs, that's enough and that's okay. And just try to keep in mind that all of these things are just going to add more benefit to your body and help you during this time. It's all just supplying our body with what it needs and being more conscious and aware of what that looks like and how we can be reaching those goals and maintaining that nourishment. And so that's why, I'm not against supplements. And I think, especially when we're having a hard time absorbing different nutrients and we are having a hard time consuming a lot of different nutrients and just struggling getting that done. And we're maybe having a lot of food aversions or sensitivities or nausea going on. Keep in mind when you are choosing your supplements, when you're finding a prenatal that works for you, try to find a really whole food based prenatal when possible. Look for the correct versions of vitamins, not synthetic forms, if at all possible. If you're unsure where to start, consider working with nutrition-minded practitioner or a midwife who is going to look over your supplements or suggest a supplement that is really going to support your body and give you more of what it needs and give you that recommendation and give you that insight and give you that perspective rather than just say, oh, you're low in iron, we have to immediately go to a supplement. Or, yeah, just go to the store and go find an iron supplement. And they're not giving you a recommendation or their perspective or able to have that conversation with you. So just seeking reputable sources for different vitamins or supplements if you feel like your body needs those things. And also understanding that probiotics are super beneficial for gut health and just your baby's overall microbiome too. And so try to incorporate that in ways that you're nourishing your body. And just remember that nourishment isn't about this perfect diet or creating this perfect plan of what you need to eat or what you should eat or what you shouldn't eat or what to eat and what not to eat and things like that. I think it can be really conflicting to feel like there's a certain way that you have to eat while you're pregnant. But this is really, again, like I said, creating that foundation of safety and intention and self-love and awareness around the food that we're consuming and eating. And sometimes this is really a pivotal moment in people's lives when they start to truly nourish their body because they have a human growing inside of them and they want to do what's best and achieve that in whatever capacity that looks like. And so they're starting to take more care of their body and they're realizing and feeling the differences and the changes and the adjustments that food plays into all of this. So you don't need to overhaul your whole life overnight if this is not something that you normally do or consider. Just start small. Start with one meal at a time. Start with just drinking more water or adding electrolytes into your water or trying a new food that might be super nourishing and beneficial and incorporating that into the meals that you're already eating. This is always about adding what our body needs, not taking certain things away. Growing a baby is really such a impactful time and transition in our lives, and your nourishment is an opportunity to really take control and have something that you can be directly benefiting yourself and your baby for. And if you enjoyed this topic, if you found this information useful, I just want to let you know that our Own Your Birth childbirth education course is packed with so much information like this. If you think this was a deep dive, if you think this was a lot of information, you can only imagine what we have available in that course and for you to look over and see and gather. So I encourage you to check the link in the show notes and find that out. You can reach out to me if you have any questions about the course or if you just want to know some more information. And there are just so many different topics that we cover and that we dive deep on and that we want you to know all the different resources and information and topics that we cover so that you can take from that what you need in your journey and your motherhood experience and your birthing experience to truly own it and know that what you want it to look like is possible and that we can go into this experience feeling empowered and ready for whatever happens. So go check that out if that sounds like something that you would be interested in. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you later, mamas. Thank you, mamas, so much for listening. Remember, you are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch and let's kick it into high gear together. Hit that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend, message me, email me, call me, beat me. You know how to reach me. We're doing this, mamas. I am so excited to catch you here next week. This is your one-stop go-to place for helping you find the resources you need to make the best choices for you and your family during pregnancy, birth, and most importantly, postpartum. See you later, mamas.